And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thomson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, welcome to the Weighing In podcast where my man, the real punk, Josh Thompson, is going to start lighting people on fire. He's got things to talk about today. He's going to start cutting people down. We've got all kinds of things going on. We're going to have a great interview with somebody that is really doing big things in this sport. We're going to talk about that person and with that person. I don't know how to say anything better about that person, but they're doing big things, making waves. My man, what's up?
Well, John just totally messed that up, Gian. He didn't hear a damn thing I just said.
Shit. I thought it was this one.
No, most of you guys have already seen it. Hopefully, go to the Don Davis interview. It's down below. You guys click that link. It's there. It's already there.
Start it over.
This is a separate clip. No, we got to make John suffer the consequences for not paying attention. Look.
First, okay, when is it that you ever thought I paid attention to you?
This is very true. Literally, for the last 5 minutes, I was explaining to John what we were going to do in this.
All kinds of crap.
We're going to put together a quick, probably 15 to 20, 25-minute long clip, depending on how long we rant on about all this. But look, there was a lot of stuff being said. We had Makhachev on.
Fantastic.
We had him on the show. Great interview. A lot of people even commented how great it was.
Brother, who's that guy?
Yeah, who's that guy? It was the greatest.
That's the best ever.
A lot of people commented on that. It was kind of one of the first interviews they've seen him so relaxed. And I was like, you know what? That made me feel good knowing that,
That's good.
And he even sent me over a photo, and he also sent me over some audio messages saying he had a good time. Said, anytime, brother, call me anytime. I try not to bother the fighters that are getting ready for fights because it's very important. I want him to have success. I want him to be successful in everything he did. So if you guys haven't heard that interview, it's down below on our page. Head on down there, check it out. It's fun and it's entertaining. For those of you guys that don't know about Islam, man, he was always the funny guy in the gym. Like Zuba was also very funny. Zubaya, he was hilarious, but he was hilarious because he was the smaller of the guys, and he just always had something smart crack to say about it all. But Islam had that very dry kind of sense of humor. And but it just
Islam's
the way he's
smart. He picks things out.
Yes, he does. He does. Brother, who is this guy? He say nothing.
I love that.
It was awesome.
But hold on. The best part about that, that was 45 minutes into the interview. And all of a sudden he goes, brother, who is this guy?
He doesn't say anything. And
then there's George going.
Yeah, George is there with his face like, what? Like he didn't know what to say. But George was like, man, I was scared for my life. I was like, bro, he's not going to jump through the screen. But
it was simply awesome.
The one thing that you're going to have to understand, I've had a long-lasting relationship with, with Islam, Umar and Usman and obviously Khabib and Zuba and those guys. So the relationship has been a really strong relationship, and it's been a fun relationship. Look, anytime you've had an opportunity, I've seen these guys come up from the time they were young, and they used to call me old man. That's how they used to call me old man. No, but this was when I was still active and I was still doing really well.
Doesn't matter. See, it's the same. Here, I want you to think about this because this is the same as you and me.
Yeah.
Your difference with, Islam is the same as your difference with me.
Yeah, it is pretty close.
And you're always doing what?
Calling you an old man.
Okay, so you deserve everything you're getting.
You wouldn't expect to be called an old man while you're still a very active fighter and at the time having success.
Doesn't matter. You're an old man.
But it was one of the funniest thing is him and Khabib, I think both almost like at the same time said, brother, you old like my father. And the way they said it, and I was like, this is what are you guys talking about, man? We're sparring together, we're grappling together, we're like all these things.
Matter.
Didn't matter. They're like, brother, how long are you gonna fight for? You old like my father. It was hilarious. I mean, just the moments we had on the mat, and I love having them on the show now. And I know that those times are gonna come and go because they won't be in the sport forever. Khabib's already retired. Zuba, I haven't seen him fight in a long time, and I don't know what's going on with him right now. And then also too with Islam, he wants to defend his title a lot. He wants to be as active as possible. He wants to get that 175-pound strap as well. 170-pound strap, I should say.
170 pounds.
And but it's only a matter of time before they decided, to cut bait and call it quits. And so I'm trying to enjoy these moments with the fighters that I train with personally and have backgrounds on and have experienced, time in the cage with them, times on the mats with them, because once those guys are gone, it pretty much, there's no more connection to any of that.
Then you really know.
Yeah.
But see, and this is one of those things it's so hard for people to understand what it's like as far as your connection with the sport and with the people in the sport. And when you're in it and you're training all the time and everything, I mean, you're just entwined with everyone and you meet people and you'll go and train different places at times and you'll meet people at fights and all these things. And you're just, bouncing from here to there, meeting all these different people. Then there comes the point where you step away, like you, and you see them periodically. You'll go to shows, you do things, and there's even times you'll go and work out with people, but it's periodic. It's not on that consistent thing. Then there comes a point where those people leave, and the only way you know people is from someone introducing you to somebody, and it's a weird thing.
Well, even when working with Bellator, like I have great relationships with all the fighters, but I had to keep a distance. I know with you it's a little bit different. With me though, they still looked at me as if like I could still train and compete with them, and I'm like, no, this is not the same, man. Like I'm literally like 6 years removed, 7 years removed now, and I'm thinking to myself like, man, it's 5 years now, but like my math is not that great, as you guys all know. But literally 5 years removed, not active, in terms of, I own gyms and was training, but grappling with students is a lot different than grappling with fighters. And always asking like, come down and train, come down and roll, come down to this, and little nagging injuries because you're not training all the time. But you also don't want to be disrespectful. You want to come down, but you don't have the conditioning, the cardio that they obviously are looking for. And you don't want to disrespect them, and like waste their time. But I know I wouldn't be wasting their time. It's just a matter of, you don't want to, I guess, more of an ego thing for yourself. You don't want to show up and not perform to the level you should be able to perform.
Absolutely. You don't want to go somewhere and have people go, wow, he's really fucking down.
No, but I've trained with guys that worked for Bellator that weren't even fighting for Bellator. And I'm like, man, these guys are actually pretty good. They're not bad. Like the lawyer, George Pineda.
Yeah,
he's a good jiu-jitsu. He's a brown belt. He's a brown belt, man. He's got some good grappling. Small guy, uses a lot of strength for being such a small guy. I don't know if that was just him trying super hard with me.
Well,
phenomenal grappler.
You gotta freaking look, and when people get a chance, and I tell people this all the time. I used to tell people, hey, you want to roll, we'll roll. I said, if you want to tap me out here, boom.
Yeah,
you just tap me out, okay? This is about have fun. If there's something you want to practice, we'll practice it. This is not the end of the world if I get tapped out. So if that's your main goal, let's do it now. And you kind of do, because the ego part is you're always going to have a target on your back based upon you were a successful fighter, world champion, and there's always going to be that person that says, "Oh, I rolled with him," and it's like. Okay.
It's funny that you took that approach, because when I was fighting, my approach was, the complete opposite. Is that when I trained with you, I had to smash you the very first time.
Yeah, but that was my whole. When I was young, that was it, and you didn't tap, all that, and then I got smart because I got injured, and it was like, hey, if that's your goal, here, boom, 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 happy.
No, but then as I got older and I owned my own gyms, I told all my new members, even members that I had for the longest time, like, you guys are going to eventually catch me. And I hope that you guys, when you guys do, that you do with a little bit of dignity. Like, you don't jump up and celebrate and be super excited, because I don't do that every time I tap you.
Well, I apologize that I did it. The one time it was wrong, but I had to. Hey, dude, it is what it is.
Fell on me like a tree. Oh man. No, but then, like when I was younger, because when I trained with Dave Camarillo, right? Dave had told me, he's like, look, every time I train with someone for the first time, I try to smash them. I try to tap them as many times as I possibly can, just to set a precedent that this is how good I am. Okay. Now, anything we do after this, it's flow. Okay. It's because you understand that I can get you at any moment, or I can.
That's because Dave was a coach and had his own gym, and that's what you do. But when you're going to somebody else's gym, and you're going just a roll.
Yeah.
No, it's a little bit
Well,
different.
he was the top black belt under Ralph Gracie at his time in Mountain View there, and guys would come in and always want to kind of challenge and kind of push and see, and Dave would just mop them all over the floor. And so he had to let it be known, like, no, you come in, you train with me, I'm going to smash you the first time, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and just, we'll just go ahead and flow. You'll understand what I can do, and then anything you get me on beyond that is because I allowed it, or I wasn't really trying, or I gave you position. If you catch me, cool, but just understand that at any moment I could take it back.
Yep.
So, but look, there's been a lot going on right now. Since we've had Islam on, we're going to go ahead and talk about that a little bit. But some of it was Islam claims that Usman Nurmagomedov has better striking than Dustin Poirier. I've sparred with Usman a little bit. I had worked a long time ago. Look, with Dustin, he's a completely different fighter now. I don't even want to get into that moment. But he is a great fighter. He's a great stand-up guy. But I also want to make sure it's very clear. They are completely different strikers.
Different. Absolutely.
And so, like, this being said, they are both very good in their type of striking. Dustin, very good with calf kicks and very good with the boxing and putting the two things together. Usman, very good with distance, range, utilizing the snap kick, utilizing the long jab, putting the punch and the long kicks behind it. He knows how to judge the distance. Dustin does too, but with more of the boxing attributes of it all. And the slight footwork, making him miss, slightly making him pay, whereas Usman is more make you reach, make you lunge, kind of counter strike you, but then make you try to reach and get in, keep you on the outside of my stuff.
See, I look at it a little different.
Okay.
Dustin is the counter striker. Dustin counter strikes all the time. He waits on people. He uses the calf kick, sets things up.
Yep.
People get mad. They try to overreach, and boom, he pops them. And he brings big, heavy shots, a lot of them looping. He loops a lot of shots, but he does it in a technical fashion, and he's successful with it. He's not the complete offensive package that you get from Usman. Usman has got a variety of kicks. Mm-hmm. His kicking game is better than Dustin's. Now, Dustin's low calf kick is devastating. Absolutely fantastic. And he'll bring kicks up, high, but he just doesn't do that often as far as bringing them up high. He relies on the calf kick and he relies on his hands. And he does that just continuously, and it works for him. Usman will actually set the pace of the fight. He will throw, he will counter, but he'll set the beginning of that engagement. He'll throw, his opponent will try to counter, and he'll counter the counter.
Yep.
And he does that all the time. And they're different. I would say that Dustin's got more power with one shot than Usman does.
Absolutely.
So, that's one thing going in Dustin's side. They're just different. They're both phenomenal offensive fighters. Both of them in the stand-up. I think Usman's entire offensive tool set, being the kicks and the punches that he throws, the spinning attacks, he's got a wider variety of attacks than Dustin does. He uses a wider variety. But Dustin is basic, but man, his basics are fucking good.
They're absolutely good. And he's a very technical fighter. He's someone that there's not a lot of wasted energy with Dustin. Dustin is someone who it doesn't look like he's conserving energy, but he's making you miss just slightly enough to where it's not really he's not taking the full shots. Okay, and he makes you miss, and then he tries to counter off of that, doing a great job. I do agree with you that he is the counter striker. I understand that.
Yeah.
But he's also the counter striker in making you and putting pressure. He's not the guy that fights off of his back foot. He can.
No.
But he doesn't. He doesn't try to. He tries to walk you down.
He's way better going forward.
He's a way better fighter going forward. Usman is very good at fighting backwards off of his back leg because of his snap kicks, his thigh kicks, his body kicks. All of those things.
He's got it. Luke Rockhold had probably the best question mark kick in MMA.
Yeah.
Okay. Usman's is right with it.
Yeah, Usman's is right there. Usman, to me, sets it up a lot better than Luke does. Luke does it kind of raw dog. Yeah. Doesn't set it up behind the punches as well. His is a better kick, but it doesn't matter if you see it coming because of the way he does. He doesn't set it up, doesn't hide it behind anything. Usman, though, look, I think in terms of the training aspect of how this is going to help prepare Islam, Usman being the younger fighter, maybe not as experienced, but will be able to push the pace, the speed. All of those things are going to get Islam more ready for this fight than using opponents that are similar to Dustin. He will push the pace. He will, I think, be as hard, if not harder, to take down than Dustin will be.
I agree.
That being said, because not only does Usman understand what types of takedowns Islam's going to use, he's already worked against it. He's like, look, you're not going to hit me with that foot sweep. You're not going to hit me, break me into the fence, and then try to foot sweep me inside, outside. Like, he knows that. He's not going to clamp down on my armpit on your glove and basically try to just lateral or drop me, or any of those things. There's so many different ways. But those are things that I think that Dustin's going to have to be very prepared for. Expecting a double leg type takedown is not something you're going to see a whole lot from Islam. I'm not saying that he won't shoot a double leg. I just honestly believe with the guillotine being a factor, really being a factor, no matter how much you want to talk about.
Don't be silly.
Dustin,
jump that gilly.
You're going to jump the gilly. But look, let's just take it out of the equation. Go right to the body lock like Islam likes to do. He'll go ahead and try to break your balance. He'll hit the back of the hand on the inside of the thigh, try to foot sweep, try to outside trip, any of those things. Look for those type of takedowns to keep his head out of danger, especially early in the fight. And but in doing that, you're going to be very cautious and careful about taking big shots coming in because Dustin got the power to put your lights out. No doubt.
But Dustin's got that big time snap, and that's always something as a fighter going up against, you better be prepared for it, and you better be cognizant of, I need to be careful, because if he lands a good strike, he's going to put you away. Absolutely.
Look, we're going to stay on this track though for a little bit with the AKA and the Dagestan and Conor McGregor. A little bit of a beef is Javier Mendez comes out, the coach of AKA comes out and says that Conor McGregor hasn't been the same since he's lost to Khabib. Would you agree?
Yeah, if it's as simple as this. Look at the stats. Okay, if you look at the stats, Conor had how many wins against how many losses up to that point against Khabib? He had lost a couple of fights early in his career. He had lost to Nate, and other than that, beat everybody. Now you take a look at after losing to Khabib, what happened? How many wins does he have?
I mean, can you kind of correlate that to like, he also in between the Alvarez fight and the Khabib fight, he made a ton of money.
Sure.
That changes him too.
It's the whole thing. It's the entire package. When you're looking at Conor, it's so hard for people. I say this all the time, man. When he was young, okay, and he was living in Dublin, he had D taking care of him. Okay, he was a plumber's apprentice who quits the plumber's apprentice so he could just train, and he starts doing fights, and he's winning most of them. He loses a couple, but his whole purpose in life was training. He didn't have anything. He had a girlfriend that was paying the bills. And then he gets to the UFC. He fights Marcus Brimage, right? Beats him, fights Max Holloway. Hey, it's a hell of a fight there. I'd like to see it, again, it never will happen. But, he beats Max and he starts beating everybody, Dustin Poirier being one. He goes through, the Dennis Sievers there and the Diego Brandaus and all those fights, but wins the Chad Mendez for the interim title, beats Aldo, never ever defends that title, then beats Eddie. And at that point, when he beat Eddie, he was at his best. Mm-hmm. He was phenomenal at that. His distance management, the way that he entered, his head movement, just the slight little things that he did, he was so good that night. I'm telling you, it was one of the best performances I watched up close. I was like, geez, because I give Eddie Alvarez nothing but, high praise. I think Eddie is one of the best goddamn MMA fighters there's been. Mm-hmm. And he just pieced Eddie up in that fight. It was like, it was like Eddie was, not the Eddie that we know, and maybe, it wasn't a good night for him too, but Conor was that good that night under a lot of pressure, and so you look and you go, that's the Conor at that time. Yeah, he's starting to get money, and things are starting to change for him. But he was hungry that whole time. It's hard to stay hungry when everything in your life is changing. You have money now. Now you not only have the girlfriend, you have the kids that take priority. Now you have the businesses and all the business things. Your 100% focus on being the best fighter in the world has come to an end. You're not going to be the best. You can't be the best fighter in the world if you're not 100% focused. You cannot take all of the things that are part of his life now and say that he can have that same focus. It's impossible. So, and he's getting older, and the injuries occur, and the leg breaks, and things like that. Of course, he's not the same fighter. What Javier is saying makes sense, but it doesn't. It's not like, wow, that's an eye opener.
No, look, I look at it from a different way. I think that, from what I understand, like, and I kind of see it this way too. He is not mentally the same person. That defeat to Khabib did something to him. It changed him. I'm sorry, but it took something out of him. The way he came out, he looked at Khabib as being a true threat to him, and being that he's somebody that could take everything that he had worked for. Obviously, not his money, but he was somebody that, look, I built this all up, and this guy came in and could dominate me. You could tell by the way the pressers were going, the way that it got real, just kind of nasty with the stuff he was saying about Khabib's dad, about his saying about his country, about his wife. Like what are you doing?
Yeah, it got nasty.
And it got nasty. But what it also did though was that it put more pressure on him, which he normally handled. Conor normally handled that type of pressure and rose to the occasion. But when that fight didn't go his way, he seriously, like you can hear the sound bites. It's just business. It's just business. Like, no, it's not just business, buddy. That to me, once he realized, no, that's not just business inside the cage, and he's talking, let's talk now. What do you have to say? Those type of things, I think, really resonated with Conor. He hasn't been the same since.
Habib said that to quite a few people.
I understand that. Well,
okay. It's different.
Definitely different.
But it's different. I admit, but Khabib used to talk to everyone.
Yeah, but I never saw him lose his composure that way like he did in that fight.
Boom. That's the difference. You're right. Conor was able to strike a chord with Khabib that nobody else was able to.
But you would have never have known that the week of the presser, though. He just smiled and just smirked.
Yeah, I'm going to smash your boy. Yeah. I'm going to smash him. You just wait. I'm going to smash him.
But he would have said that about anybody. He held a lot of that in. He held a lot of that in until they got into the fight. And that was I guess he's a walking example of look, I actually get to punch these dudes in the face. It doesn't matter what you say. You can say whatever you want. I'm going to have that opportunity.
Hold it. If there was one thing that I loved about Khabib, it was, hey, here comes the truth sayer.
Yeah.
Because he was very, very, very straight up and to the point. We'll see. I smash you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, man, just about every time. That's exactly what happened.
The way that I look at the Conor thing is that I think mentally, and he seems like he's missing a piece of himself since that fight. It didn't go it was the way he was dominated. I mean, think about this. I was on Brendan Schaub's show, and he was talking to me like, oh, Khabib's not going to stand with him. I said, his stand-up is better than you think. He doesn't get credit for it because he's such a good wrestler. Yeah. His approaches, the way he stands up and the way he does like his movements, they're so sporadic. But because you're so afraid of the takedown, that shit lands every single time. And when it lands, it rocks you enough to make the takedowns even easier. So he's working less hard. And then he's able to control the top position because you're still rocked from the punch. And now you're on bottom going, shit, how do I get up? But you don't know how to get up because whatever, the 29 people before you never got up. That's why. So you have no way of figuring out how it happened. And so I think in what Javier is trying to say is that basically he hasn't mentally been the same. It feels like there's something in him that's still driving him to say, screw that guy. I want it. Like every time Khabib's name comes up, he has something negative to say. He can never say something positive. He can never talk positive about him because you lost to him and the things that you said leading up to that fight turned around and bit you in the ass. Normally you could be the guy. And I'll be honest, Nate Diaz, after he fights and he beats guys, he's normally like, hey, what's up, man? Da-da-da, great fight. That dude hasn't talked to me one time. I've tried to say hi to him at fights and events and stuff. Has never said hi to me. Never.
How many people? Why?
I don't know. No idea.
How many people have knocked him out?
Yeah, but look, it's a
fight
game.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Bullshit.
John, I say hi. I say hi to Yves Edwards.
It doesn't matter what you do. Okay, and you will continue to do so.
Absolutely.
There's no one has stopped him. And you talk about Conor and Khabib, and something that is just eating at Conor about that Khabib fight. Guess what? Nate probably has that one thing about that fight because that just pisses him off that happened.
And that's where I feel like Javier is right about the Conor and Khabib thing. He has not been the same. He's just not mentally the same. He's not the same person. He's taken a twist to be the dirtier, the nastier person.
I don't look at it as Conor's thing is about Khabib. Yes, he's never going to talk good about Khabib. Okay, he's never going to do that.
Dude, you lost the fight. You didn't lose the end of the world, man. You're still worth $400 million.
I agree with you and the concept that you're bringing. I absolutely believe the same thing as you. But not everyone believes the same things that we do. And that some people... I'm listening to Tank Abbott, okay? Here we go. Right? I'm listening to Tank Abbott. I'm listening to Ken Shamrock. I'm listening to all these guys, and they're all old suckers like me. And they can't be honest about a fight. They can't be honest about a fight.
Well, look, we'll get into that.
They never lost a damn fight.
We'll get into that next week. We have an interview next week. We're going to talk the history of the sport. One of the original guys is going to be on. If not the original guy, it's going to be on the show. We're going to have him on to talk about the history of young and early MMA.
How many fighters do you know that can't say the truth about what fucking happened?
I know a lot of them. It's so weird, right, John? Like, I don't understand why they let it stick with them so much. Look, I literally, after I lost to Yves Edwards, I kid you not, a month or two later, I was out I flew myself out to Woodland Hills.
Woodland, Texas.
Yeah, Woodland, Texas, where he was living right after the Katrina. I think it was right. It was actually during Katrina. When the hurricane came through. It ripped through, and then people were staying. All the hotels were booked. So I had to stay in this crappy ass Super 8 or Super 6 hotel or whatever it was called. Man, what a shithole. I was afraid to sleep on the bed. But anyways, I flew myself out there, trained with him for a week to help him get ready for his Pride fight. And him and I have been friends ever since, man. I don't have any ill will. Look at Patricio and I. Patricio and I, like, they've been to my gyms. They've trained with me. I've grappled them. We've done wall drills. I've let them work out at my gyms, given them a key to my gym so they could train there during fight week in San Jose. I don't even have to be there. Here, just come there, show up, just leave the key in the drop box in the mail thing. Okay. And I'll pick it up later. Man, I got nothing but love and respect for these guys. And it's a fight game. But
Josh, that's the way it's supposed to be.
He took it to another level that he can't seem to get out of. And it's affecting the way he treats other fighters that he doesn't. Look what he said about the Ryan Garcia thing. When Ryan Garcia popped for the, what's it called, Ostarine or Ostarine. Said basically, you're dead to me, all this other shit. And like a couple weeks before that, he was in his locker room hugging him and hanging out with him, saying great fight. And then that came out, and now he's been vindicated. Now you just said things that you can't take back.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, and then he went out and he attacked Sean O'Malley.
That's why I tell everyone when it comes to drug testing, hey, wait. I hate the fact that they put things out right away. And it's like, stop. Why are you doing that? Don't, unless you know. And I will tell you, there are athletic commissions. They wait. They don't put anything out until they get the second sample and everything. Because many times that second sample comes back, it's clean.
Yeah.
And so I could get into the whole thing, but it's like people like to jump. When there's the ability to fucking stab someone, they're the first person pulling that dagger out.
They love it.
Sticking it in.
They love that. There's also, to stay on the Conor McGregor news, we're going to drop this one too, is that, hey, look, he says, Max Holloway's too light, too fast. I think Holloway picks Ilia Topuria apart. Topuria, for me, is a non-champion in my opinion. He might have a strap, but it's a meaningless strap. In my opinion, as he holds it, I don't see any attraction to it. Obviously,
how is it meaningless?
I think just to him, look, I think Topuria, you were saying Topuria called him out.
He did.
Or look,
He called him to fight.
yeah, but Conor
That's
McGregor
never going to happen
he's
because
never
Conor
making,
can't get to
he
145.
can't even make 55 anymore. He's fighting Michael Chandler at 70.
170.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you want me to cut weight? Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna sit on my $400 million and just chill.
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
At first, he was saying it's at 185.
yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
I actually would have liked to have seen it better at 185. That's just both their normal walk around weight. Why even bother cutting the weight? Just do what you got to do at the normal weight.
Yeah.
I actually want to see also too, how do these fighters? This is one of those fights that like really there's no real importance to it. You know, if Conor wins, they'll probably try to give him a title shot as fast as possible. But if Chandler wins, it depends on how the Arman Sarukian fight with Islam goes, and if he waits around for a title shot. He waited a year for the Conor fight, so he might as well wait another year. You know, after that, to see if he can get a title shot against
getting older.
Islam or Arman. Yeah, he is getting older, but you know, it is what it is. I think he's trying to pick and choose his what he considers to be some of the most exciting fights, which I don't blame him.
That's okay. I don't blame him for that.
The fights that
he's at that point.
Absolutely. I also believe that he's deserved that. Not, you know, like that's going to be like people are like, oh, wait, Josh taking his side. But
look at Josh.
Look,
Josh is getting all soft.
Look, when I got older in age, I wanted the fights that motivated me. And it seems like he's willing to wait for those fights that motivate him. Conor McGregor motivates him.
But
cool. Good
but
for him.
one of the but one of the things that, you know, if I talk to you, Josh, did you fight enough?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No.
So there's a balance point between it.
I'm mad that I didn't fight more in my earlier career though either.
Okay.
But that was because I mean, look, as much as I love Strikeforce, they just didn't have enough shows to fight me as often and also to pay me as much as I was making.
Pay you.
And so that was the other thing. So not having as many shows, having as many guys on the roster, you gotta remember that fucking roster was stacked, man. We had the best heavyweight division in the world, no hands down, no doubt about it.
At one point,
right? And we had Fedor, we had Fedor, Verdum,
Arlovsky, Alistair Overeem, freaking Josh Barnett, Daniel Cormier. I mean, Bigfoot Silva. I mean, you had
we had the whole crew, man.
Strikeforce had the heavyweights.
We had the heavyweights, man. We were blessed in that area. We had some really good lightweights in there too. We had some really good 70 pounders. I mean, you got to remember, we had T Wood, we had Robbie Lawler. Lawler was 85 at the time, but like we had guys in that division. Nate Marquardt was there. Yeah, Nick. We had Nick Diaz there. I mean, like we had we had Paul Daly. We had guys, man. We had guys that were just fun to watch fight, put together great fights. But I look at this with Conor. He took jabs at everyone, man. He's no one's safe. Everyone catching strays right now from this dude. He's just trying to create hype around his fight coming up. I understand.
That's it.
But man, like you better go out there and perform. You like. What? Let me ask you, like, okay, how long until we sink this ship? If he goes out there and gets starched by Chandler, are we done? Are we done with Conor McGregor?
No. No, you're not.
Well, okay, tell me, like, tell me what we're gonna do with him. Max,
okay.
You see him fight Max at 55?
But no, you're not going to see him fight Max at 155. I seriously don't think you're going to see Conor going down to 155. He's going to have to take time to lose that weight properly. If he does.
Does Islam go up there and fight him instead of fighting Leon?
I could see that. I could see Islam fighting Conor at 170. Yeah. But I could also see Islam fighting either Bilal. No, never mind. I could see him fighting Leon, but never Bilal.
He won't fight Bilal.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, look, we're going to see what happens and how that dust settles. But I mean, what's your take on I look at it with the Ilia Topuria comments, is that there's no reason for me to even talk about Ilia Topuria and him fighting me because, look, it doesn't mean anything to me. That title was irrelevant. I'm never going to make 45 again. Go back to some of the pictures of him on the scale at 145.
Oh, my God. Looking like a concentration camp.
Yeah.
He was absolutely just dried out.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Yeah.
Didn't look like the same guy.
The very first time I saw that photo, I thought it was photoshopped. And then I saw him at the weigh-ins for the Jose Aldo fight. I was like, oh no, this is for real. You really do look like that.
Oh, he killed himself.
Yeah.
To get down to that way.
Because I was at the Jose Aldo fight when he fought Jose Aldo. And I was like, holy shit. You are that guy. You're super skinny. Super, like Skeletor. That's what he looked like. He looked like Skeletor.
He would lose a significant amount of weight, to make that 145. And it was to the point, it's close to killing him.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen Chad Mendes fight him on a full camp.
Yeah, look, I love Chad. I love Chad as a fighter, and Chad had everything. But the one difference between Chad and Conor?
Yeah, possibly.
It was.
Possibly.
Look at Chad was fast. Chad could wrestle. Chad had power. But every now and then, Chad turned off. And it was, I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it was just like mentally he'd be in a fight, and then all of a sudden it was like, what's he doing? Where's he at? Almost check out of it when he was so talented. If people watch Chad train, they'd go, no one will beat this guy. No one will beat him. I mean, he could just out wrestle people. His hand speed was absolutely astonishing at times. The power that he could hit with, he had everything. And he had a gas tank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, look, you go back to the guys like that you always knew that were just studs, right? They were studs inside the practice room, and they got out. Don't get me wrong, Chad was a performer inside the cage.
Oh, yeah, he was performing in the cage.
But then you go look at guys like Vitor Belfort. They were just known for being like untouchable inside the gym. Then he got out into the cage. Sometimes they showed up, sometimes they didn't.
Sometimes it didn't.
So
that's it.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to wrap us up on this quick little tidbit. We did the 36 minutes of this. Just kind of threw in a couple news cycles. Normally we break them up, but we weren't sure if we were going to be able to rant on enough, which we obviously were able to.
But let me ask you a question before we stop.
Please do.
You do have Conor going up against Chandler. We know how you feel about Mike Chandler.
Yeah.
Who's winning the fight?
I want Michael Chandler to win.
I didn't say who you want.
Oh, who's going to win?
Who's going to win the fight?
Can I put can I put
caveat?
Can I put like little things on it? Like little caveats?
No.
Like,
you can no.
Okay.
You cannot.
I'm gonna go with Michael
who
Chandler.
Wins the fight? Okay.
I'm gonna go with Michael Chandler. I have this in my gut feeling that he's gonna wrestle. I do. I have it in my gut feeling he's gonna wrestle just enough to where he can land a big shot. Because look, Chandler, one thing he can bite down on his mouthpiece and get after it, but he's also someone that no matter how tired he looks, he will fight his ass off.
Oh, yeah.
And this will be a 5-round fight. I've seen that guy gut it to try and get, through the full 5 rounds. His first fight with Benson Henderson, he was exhausted after the first 3 rounds.
He got crushed in the 5th round.
In the 5th, yeah. In the 4th was kind of going Benson's way as well. It was a little bit more scrambly and stuff like that, but he was so exhausted in the 5th. He was just holding on to Benson's legs, trying to get through the fight. He had no offense whatsoever in that fight.
Look, there's no doubt Michael Chandler, look, he is a fighter. And he is a guy, he's tough as nails, doesn't always fight the smartest game plan at times.
That's an understatement.
That's why you were trying to give me the caveats, and I wasn't going to take them. It's like, it's one of those things you look and I go, hey, I don't think Conor is the same Conor McGregor as he was in, UFC 205. No, at UFC 205, that was a dude who could beat anyone at that time. He was that good. He was that on. He was that prepared and everything. But his skill set is tailor-made to beat Mike Chandler.
It is. I would agree with you 100%. I'm going to go with Michael Chandler only because I've got a lot of people that I know that train at Kill Cliff. Yeah. And the focus seems to be to fight a smarter fight. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to wrestle. It just means that he may not try to get into a slugfest. He may try to drag him into the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. He may really try to push this fight into the later rounds, which is where I think that Michael Chandler will excel against this guy.
He should.
Knowing that he's coming off such a long layoff, that's one. 2, probably from the, putting on all that weight for the show, right? Yeah. However you want to say, putting on all the muscle. Movie. And then now getting the muscle off a little bit. He's gonna feel great getting the weight down, feeling good inside the gym. He's gonna feel fantastic, but will it be able to last him? He never had great cardio. It was like he's an explosive athlete.
He is. Look, you're gonna have to, there's a give and take in everything, and to have that speed and that power, that's a fast twitch muscle fiber. There's a give and take, and one of them is endurance.
Yeah.
You know, you're not going to have the same endurance as that person that, you know, doesn't have quite that amount of speed, that amount of power.
Well, then let me ask you this then. How do you see that fight going?
I think Conor McGregor wins that fight.
Knockout?
Years ago, I want you to think about this. We talked on this show about Conor McGregor facing Michael Chandler because Michael Chandler had just signed with the UFC. And we were talking about matchups. And you told me the same thing I just said. Conor McGregor is a horrible matchup for
He is.
Michael Chandler.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago, John.
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't.
One less broken leg ago.
That remains the same to this day.
Okay.
I'm not saying that but because neither one is the same fighter. Let's be honest.
I agree. Neither one's the same fighter, but where you have to, he's going to be slower. He's older. 3 years is a lot in fight game.
Yeah, Chandler's going to be older and slower. You're right.
Chandler never stopped working out. That's the thing. Chandler's never stopped working out.
Have you seen Conor working out lately?
I saw some like kicks on the bag to show people he could kick in the bag. I saw him kind of hitting some mitts, which was very, very slow. I didn't see any pop. Not that he's not going to have it. I get it. I just look at it and I think to myself, like, you've got your work cut out for you and you don't have a lot of time.
No. Time is running short. It's a month away, basically.
Look, fighters that are constantly training, let's just say they're trained once a day. Most fighters train 2 times a day. Even when they're not in camp, they're still training twice a day.
But stop. Michael Chandler is training how when he's off?
Oh, all strength and conditioning. Majority of strength and conditioning.
There you go.
Probably some pad work and bag work, and that type of stuff. I don't know how much wrestling probably at that age.
It's not like he's down at Kill Cliff and he is going through it with those monsters down there.
No, but I've heard that
he's in camp.
No, I've heard he goes down for like a week or two and then comes back. Goes down for a week or two and comes back. But he's not expending too much energy. When he's down there. A lot of it is more like going through the motions, flow training with the wrestling, hitting the mitts, with Henry, getting some time on the bags, and just hanging out with the guys, getting back in the routine of like, this is what I got to do, keeping the body sharp. The one thing with Chandler is that he's always taking care of his body. He's
true.
He's always taking care of his body. He's built like a little specimen, and if he can muster up to use just 2% of his fight IQ, I think he'll have a decent chance of getting this win.
I believe at this moment, Michael Chandler is the favorite in the fight.
I didn't see that. I saw he was the underdog.
Really?
Yeah, I saw he was, but not by much. It was like plus 130, I think, and then it was minus 110. So it was a very close margin. Yeah, very close margin. And that'll probably change, I think, as we get closer to the fight, as people start seeing.
Yeah, I was listening to Chael saying 2-1 favorite, and I was like, really?
No.
Wow. Okay.
No. Chael has bad problems with math, like I do.
Chael is just lying to me again.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, that's gonna wrap this. Look, this was just a quick little tidbit we did for you guys, just to have some fun, man. Make sure you guys check out that Don Davis interview that dropped yesterday. Check it out; it's fun, enlightening. I went to bat for the fighters to find out what some details were for there. John had a lot of great questions as well, and he had a lot of great insight on where the focus is for this year as well as next, and then moving on all the way into 2027. So check that interview out. If you guys haven't seen the Islam interview, it is fun. It's hilarious. Make fun of Keto George as well. We have a great time, man. So check that interview out. We're trying to bring you guys more interviews and have some fun with this, man. We're going to start trying to change things up a little bit and have some fun. So hope you guys enjoy this. And John, take us away, bud.
For everyone out there, man, I hope you enjoyed this. Please do check out that Islam Makhachev. Do yourself a favor. Stay salty with a little element.
That's right.
It's fantastic. I'm telling you right now, I'm drinking it. And for everyone, please have a great weekend, and we will see you.
Hashtag and still, baby.
And still.